All right, guys, in this video, we're going to talk about the actual getting going with the listing optimization of things. So as you know, this is what we call the 3-pack of Google Maps. And there's been a lot of name changes in the past with Google Maps. So that's why I've always just kind of referred to it as Google Maps. But now we're called Google Business Profile, and I want to show you how to actually get started with it. So if I come in here and I just typed in a keyword in a city and I click view all and I scroll down, I just want to find something that looks like it's not a claimed listing. And I'm going to explain to you why we're doing that. So this one looks like it's missing some reviews. It looks like it doesn't have a website. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assume that that's probably a guaranteed not claimed listing. Now, why I want to show you this is because with Google's latest changes, they've basically made it so that a business owner could come in here and update information without having to go on the back end of their site. In the past, we used to see what was called a Google My Business dashboard. Okay, and this was a dashboard where you could go in, you could update, make changes, and this dashboard still exists, but it's no longer called the Google My Business dashboard. Instead, now it's called the Google Business Profile. But what you're seeing here is on this listing, Express Router, and if we click something like add business hours, a business owner could come in here and suggest changes to this. Now, this really isn't that big of a change. In fact, anyone can really do this. Anyone can come into any business and suggest changes, and it'll prompt the business owner if they have a claimed listing. That's the difference between a claimed and unclaimed. If it's claimed, it'll prompt the business owner to accept those changes or not. Okay, but in this case, if the business owner didn't claim the listing, they could go in, they could suggest changes, and those changes are just going to be pushed over to it. Okay, so you can see that those options are in there because it's missing details. Now, this, on the other hand, is the Google Business Profile. And how you get to this is you go to google.com/business. Okay, and this used to be called, the Google My Business Dashboard. And all you need to sign into this is a Google account. So what I recommend you do, and what I normally do, is I try to keep my dashboard separate per client. And I just do that because I don't want, if something were to happen, God forbid, to one of my clients, I don't want it to affect all of the rest of them. Okay, so what I've been doing now with this Google Business Profile is I've been keeping them all separate. And there's been horror stories out there of business owners who they've plugged their information into like third parties, right? Like third-party management places where they kind of do stuff for you. And guess what? If that company who you plug your information to, like a software company, does something wrong, or one of their clients is impacted, your whole listing and everything could be impacted. So you got to be very, very careful of stuff like this. You want to really sort of treat this like, very safely and guard it safe, just so that nothing happens to it. So what's going to happen is, in order to get started, you need to figure out if your listing or your client's listing is claimed or not. And the way you do that is you come to their listing if you can find it, and you click Own This Business. Okay, there's two ways to do it. I'll show you the first way. This is the first way. If you already see there's a listing that exists, you can click Own This Business, and you're going to get this pop-up that says manage this business to reply to reviews, update info, and more. Okay, and then we could click manage, and we could go and do that. Now, that's how you know. I'm going to click OK. We don't want to do that. That's how you know that it has not been verified. Now, let's scroll up to the top of the list, because we can assume someone who's probably ranked number 1 probably has a claimed or a verified listing. Now, you'll notice we're not seeing those buttons on there anymore to update the website and stuff like that, because they already have that information in there because they've claimed the business and they've already done that work. But what I'm going to do, every listing should have this Own This Business indicator. And in the past, when a listing wasn't claimed, it wouldn't have that. But now, even if it's claimed, it still has that. And it's kind of a 2-step process to check if it's claimed. And here's what that is. If we click it, it's going to still pop open that window. But look at it. It looks a little bit different this time. It tells you that this Google Business Profile has already been claimed. And it will tell you who it was claimed under. So sometimes when we work with new clients, they might not realize that it was already claimed. and they might not know which email is claimed under. This can kind of help give you a clue to that and let them know. And then you would just click this request access button and they'll get an email inside of their account to give you access to it. So that's kind of your first steps whenever you're working with someone new, especially if they've already got something claimed. This is what you need to do. Okay, now, if this doesn't work or if you're not finding it, I'll come back down. If I find another unclaimed listing here, and I click own this business, there's another option under here. You see where it says I own or manage another business. And if I click that, I can start typing in my business name. And Google's gonna try to find it. They're gonna try to see if they know what I'm talking about. And if they do find it and Google has this in their database, see what Google does is they scour the web and databases for all kinds of information. You know, when a business owner goes out there and they create a new business or they pull a license, they buy that data from people. And with that data, they go and they start creating these business profiles. So they might already have the data in there. And if it goes unclaimed for long enough, they might eventually delete that out of there and then the listing will be gone. But sometimes you'll find it in there and you can select it. And if not, then you would just choose this option. I'm going to start from scratch like that. Okay, so that's the other way how you find it. Okay, and now another way that you can go and get a new listing created if you're not finding it in the 3-pack or under the maps listings is, again, you can just go to the google.com/business page and you can sign in using a Gmail account. And then that'll take you to this page, which is going to look similar to what you just saw me do. You know, I can come in here and I can start typing in a business name and hopefully it'll find it. And if it doesn't find it, then we're just going to start from new and click add our business to Google, and we kind of are brought to the exact same page. And then there's one other scenario that you might see, and I want to show you that too before we get into actually, optimizing the listing and creating it if we need to. Okay, so the other scenario that you might see is only going to be if you have businesses already in your business profile manager. Okay, and this could be because you've worked with clients in the past. Maybe you worked with clients who were on the old Google My Business dashboard, right? You might see a window that looks like this after you hit this Manage Now button. Now, if you see this window, you can just click this Add Business button and click Add Single Business. And that will get you started and get you to the exact same screen. So there's multiple different ways to basically get to the screen. The most important thing is that you make sure there's not a listing already out there. Okay, and I taught you how to do that by just coming in here and typing it in. Make sure that there's not a business already out there for your client and don't add a duplicate listing. If there's one out there, select it. Okay, so with that being said, that is how you get started and get your listing created. And we'll go through the more detailed steps here coming up.